Most of your progress in life is done automatically. You know, one of the biggest fears I have making these videos is trying to figure out what I'm gonna say after turn on the recording. Every single time, I don't make that many videos in recent just because of that fact alone. I sit there, I'm like, I better know what I'm gonna say before I turn on the recording, because if I don't, I'm gonna just sit there and say nothing. Why can't I just say nothing? Why can't I just relax a bit and then sip my tea and whatever, which I have right here, by the way. I'm gonna try and wait for it to cool off. I need to have time for myself like that, so I need to get that fear go and just record the video. And so I'm gonna probably just sit back every once in a while for my thoughts. If I can't keep talking, I won't. But I won't hold back too much from what I want to say. And if I want to say it, I'll say it. Hopefully that works. Okay, anyways. Most of the progress you have in life is done automatically. You ever hear what I said about shadow work before? Is like, it comes down to your subconscious mind. And in your subconscious mind is all the unravelings and mishaps of your life, things you had to deal with, things you had to confront in order to move forward in life. Those things are automatically progressing your life. And it seems messed up. It's like, why would I want to progress through life automatically? Isn't it as the same thing as being lazy or ineffective? Not necessarily. I'd say you actually are doing a lot better noticing that you're relying on the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious. You want to be someone who knows how to handle that relationship better and not be afraid of dealing with it on a destiny's whim and letting their fate unfold by confronting it properly. You had to face your fears and let it be done automatically. Ain't that a bitch, right? But really, it's like, why can't I just have control over something like this? Why can't I just demand that it does better and have it over with? You can't achieve that, though. Realistically, you can't expect to do something like that. You have to trust the process. And being someone on the journey who can actually handle that, if you can trust that fate and destiny of processing your emotions and noticing how you feel, and then moving forward with the shadow you're confronting, that puts you in a lot better state of mind than even someone who actually has control over how their situation is going, and they run away from their feelings as a result of that. Because I can imagine, I can even tell you this from my own experience and perspective. There are probably people who use their money and their control and their power and authority and state of mind, and they abuse those things to avoid their problems, and they never solve them. When you were equipped with problems to begin with, financial, emotional, racial, you name it, when you were confronted with those problems, you are actually becoming a better person than if someone who had the power to deal with those things, or ways to confront them otherwise. Because confronting them depends on the circumstance and what you're actually doing to deal with them. So if you're abusing your money and you're not actually using it to deal with your problems in a way that's ideal to you, or you don't know how to deal with your problems because you're abusing your money in a way, or your relationship issues are coming from someone who may or may not be causing you the problems in the first place, you have to be sure that you're dealing with it properly. And you'll know from the inside out if you are. You'll know intuitively that you're dealing with it properly. You'll just know. People who can't deal with their problems don't deserve money. But that's neither here nor there. People who can't deal with their problems don't deserve to have power that they can't use properly. And again, that's neither here nor there. It just, you don't want to be that person who does not know how to confront their issues. Here I go with the water first. I have 2 cups over here. What the hell? 2 mugs. It's not that easy to say to someone, well, just have money and you'll be okay. Just have a girlfriend, you'll be okay. Just have a house, a car, a job, you'll be okay. Maybe you will be for a while, but would you really be? Would you really be okay with just those things? And simply put, because I can tell you this: someone who suffers in life the first time, who goes through the hard things first, who has many difficulties in life, who has to confront their issues head on and head first, and has a harder to hit karma than the normal person, the average person, they're going to probably have a higher quality life because they've been willing to deal with their problems first, and they have a higher chance of having a better life. They're willing to deal with those things first and foremost instead of be doom and gloom and give up black pill style. And they don't have to do that now because they've already put the work first. And that's what you want to expect from somebody who can deal with them, who can deal with their issues head first. If you can't deal with your problems, how are you going to expect to maintain the things that give you power, that gives you financial status, or fame, or better relationships with people and your girlfriend? You can't. That's not stable. It won't last, right? It's not easy. But as I'm saying for the title of this video, most of your progress in life is done automatically. Yeah, it seems like a cheese ball. It seems like, what's the point if it's going to happen anyways? It won't if you don't put in the work. That's the secret. That's the hard part. You have to put in the work anyways. Even if it feels like there's things out of your hands or things that are semi-automatic and things that have to be in favor of you already putting in effort, and you have to already be dealing with things, and you have to already be actively pursuing things before they shift into gear and pursue other parts of your subconscious mind that won't present themselves until you're already acting for them. And I know it's messed up. I know. Subconscious stuff is really messed up. It's stuff that you haven't dealt with before, stuff that you have dealt with but you didn't remember, amnesia style. It's stuff that will burn you to a crisp if you dealt with it too much at a time. That's why people say the subconscious is very hard to deal with at any given moment. You have to be able to deal with that bits at a time, if you know what I mean. Like, you can't take on the subconscious completely for the rest of your life. And it sucks. Because you want to just deal with it and not have it be controlling your life. But it controls you until you control yourself. Right? So you have to be able to deal with it first. Your problems are dealt with automatically. And it is a messed up relationship, and I know it, and you know it. And doing shadow work is a hard gambit. It's fascinating. Shadow work is very fascinating, but it can also be a bitch, right? You don't know how to do it, and then when you find out how to do it, it still hurts. It hurts like a mother. It hurts a lot, right? It hurts a lot when you do it. And even the parts of it that are easy, the ones that feel painless, there's still effort you have to unravel and truths you have to face for yourself and not be afraid of. Shadow work is not easy for anybody. And I can't lie to you when I say that the part of it being automatic can be a good thing, but it can be understandably weird to deal with it like that, knowing that you're trying to make an effort to prove your life. But you don't have to be forceful. You don't have to be like, oh, well, it has to be done right or I won't do it. No, it does not have to be. I repeat, it does not have to be forceful. You do not have to demand a better life just because it seems like out of your hands. Fate will determine how your life goes in certain ways for the rest of your life, and you have no say in that, even though you do have control over your life, paradoxically speaking. And it's an interesting thing with that, how determinism comes in line with free will. Very fascinating stuff. And I can say more about that in later videos as well, about determinism and free will, how the relationship between the two. Yeah, I think when people want to move forward in life, they want to already assume control, and I understand the feeling. I look at my life, and not having a job for a year and a half or more, and not having a girlfriend for almost my whole life, and not having friendships I can maintain easily. Many friendships I have to go far in between, and then the rest of my life, most parts of my current life, I don't actually have a real friend right now. I have acquaintances that I keep close to me, and then I get lucky. If I get lucky, I get to talk to them for long enough to make me feel better. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but yeah, it's just. So I have dealt with unfortunate stuff. I have weird occurrences. I have boredom. I have stress. I have anxiety. I have depression. I face these things. The worst part is that I underestimate my own problems. I keep telling myself this isn't the worst it could be. It could be worse. It could be way worse. I don't have to complain yet. But I devalue my own problems, and that's not a good thing for me to do. I have to be willing to admit to myself, and this is something I'm still learning, by the way. I have to be willing to admit to myself that those problems are still problems, and I can deal with them in my own time, but in the meantime, they do matter to me. It does matter to me that I have problems. They're not weaker or lesser than of an issue that I can compare it to. like for someone else's situation. I could still face them as problems, as worthwhile adversaries, and not be degrading on them. And that's true. I can't be hard on myself about that stuff. I can't afford to be. It's not easy for anybody to deal with these things. Someone who has to have a easy or hard problem doesn't matter. I've been through it, and I can't tell you how awkward and frustrating it is when the solution to a problem is an automatic response. It just happens to be there. A swoop sway, and I'm already saved by my own subconscious. And it's like, what was the point of doing something about that? It did matter, by the way. It did matter why I did, but the fate was going to come across as, what were you going to do about the things you couldn't change? How are you going to respond to that? And that's when you do have free will. You have control over something like that particularly. You can't just say, oh, well, there was no point in changing the circumstance if it wasn't going to change anyways. I beg to differ. The paradox is that there are things you can change in spite of them. And those things influence how you behave and think and feel going forwards with the things you couldn't control. The way that they can't influence you changes how they change your life. And that's something people misunderstand a lot of times with free will and determination. Determination is not your enemy. Being against free will is not what it's telling you. It's a relationship. It comes hand in hand. And I keep stressing that in my videos, that free will and determination come together. Determinism, I can't deal with people that don't understand that relationship. It's like, oh, well, if I don't have free will, what's the point? Yeah, but you can't, however, do something about it, right? You can't. Anyone can. And that's not something I can tell anybody. But that's each their own. So, in short, your problems, a majority, most of your problems are dealt with automatically. And there's going to become a time where you're grateful that the subconscious mind can deal with its own problems, as long as you're aware of it, and as long as you're willing to deal with uncomfortable feelings firsthand. You have to be willing to sit in discomfort. That's a must-have. You have to be willing to sit in discomfort. You have to be willing to face your feelings, no matter how. If you can't find a cope for it, the best thing to do is just sit down and listen to how you feel. And you can't cope with it with escapism or addiction. You can't try to find a loophole where it's like, well, what if I don't have to feel this feeling to process it? That's not possible. There's no point. Don't do that. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable and afraid and hopeless. And that's part of the process. That's the life you have to live. That's the life you live. And when you can do that, that's when the answer can present itself to you and be done automatically. Think of yourself like a factory. You have an input and an output, right? You input the efforts you forego, supposedly free will style. You input the actions that influence how you behave, and including your patience with yourself in meditation, you're processing your emotions, you're noticing how you feel, you're doing the shadow work, and the output of trusting the divine, the part of you that will already behave in a certain way, whether you like it or not, and will subconsciously process how you're going to go about your life going forwards, which is done automatically and done in secret from yourself, but will still process your own behaviors and is evidence of what has already changed. In other words, you can observe what changed in your subconscious by noticing your surroundings and even noticing your inner world. So that happens automatically. And it's a messed up relationship. And it's like, what was the point of doing shadow work if it happens automatically? It actually doesn't. You have to still put in the work. I'm telling you, it's a weird gambit. You have to do it. But you have to do it though. You have to. Anyways. That was just about making for for this video. I don't want to make this too long. I just want to be able to talk because I keep forgetting that I can turn on the mic any moment. But I could tell you before, my fear was not being able to say anything and then not being willing to give myself airtime to say nothing. Even though I should give myself time to say nothing and drink my tea and water in peace because I should. Please comment below if you have any thoughts and share the video and like it. And subscribe if you haven't already. This has been All Across on everyone. I'll see you after doing my shower work. Yippee. Ah.